Showtime! The Capital G show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here, and today we're going to be looking at decks that just wouldn't go away. I guess you could say that they decided to play dead rather than stay dead. Look, we all have our favorite decks and archetypes, but like a relative's staying over during the holidays, once they've overstayed their welcome, they just kind of get annoying. Now for clarification, I'm not saying that I necessarily dislike any of these decks and will mainly be considering decks that were considered to have a competitive run much longer than what's typical, or decks that even still today are extremely popular on the casual level, but ones that duelists don't generally like playing against. With all that said, welcome to the top 10 decks that just wouldn't die at the Yu-Gi-Oh hierarchy. Number 10, Blackwings. This might seem like a weird place to start off our list, but I mainly decided to have Blackwings because of their complete and utter refusal to go quietly into the night. Due to their insane popularity in the OCG, Konami decided to systematically tear the deck apart piece by piece. Gale, Black Whirlwind, Kalut all fell victim to hits on the ban list, but surprise, none of which actually killed the deck's success. We'd have to wait for power creep to do that. Number 9, Magical Explosion. Oh geez, here it is, our first FTK of the list. What made this so strange is usually Konami has a pretty clear track record of eliminating these types of decks the second that they top large events. Frog FTK, Cyber Sign OTK, Shadow Priestess of Ohm FTK were utterly destroyed and even annihilated the format after they topped YCSs and Shonen Jumps. So it was no shock that duelists were annoyed by Explosion's Frieza-like resurrection thanks to Monarchs earlier this year. The funny thing is, the origins of Explosion topping Shonen Jumps dates all the way back to 2008, so it's actually pretty puzzling that the card has never been outright banned, obviously leaving the door open for it to wreak havoc in future formats. Number 8, the Dragon Rulers. You know Konami hates their own creation when they ban literally half of the archetype after just one format. Impressive, right? Well, maybe not as impressive as the fact that every single piece of this archetype has been banned at one point or another. Semi-limits to the big guys, banning the babies. This is another example of a case where no matter what they hit, people still played them. Even when the rulers were on their last leg at limited status, decks like Mythic Rulers and Dark Matter Dragon Rulers were still topping events. Number 7, Exodia, a fan favorite that, truth be told, isn't really all that good of a deck, mainly because it's completely feast or famine. You either channel your inner Yugimoto for a glorious victory, or you pathetically crash and burn. You might be thinking Exodia's never topped anything of note, Cap, so why is it on the list? And while that might be true, you and I both know that it's never stopped players from massively loving the deck, and it being extremely popular on the casual scene, almost entirely inspired by the anime. The love affair players have with Exodia dates all the way back to the beginnings of Yu-Gi-Oh and hasn't died off after 15 years. Number 6, Heroes. This one should have been fairly obvious. While I won't specify between Elemental, Destiny, or Mass, it really feels like since GX, Heroes have had, in some form or fashion, a massive following of eager duelists ready to go ape on your ass, Stratos or not. Heroes Stun, Bubble Beat, Diamond Dude Turbo, Mass Heroes, Big City. Heroes have over a decade-long legacy. And outside of small patches, they've pretty much been front row center of the metagame the entire time. Number 5, Monarchs. Another blast from our GX past. Monarchs were extremely popular in the mid-2000s, mainly due to cards like Brain Control being unlimited way before the birth of the Monarch Stormforth. Their popularity and spot in the meta has never really tapered off thanks to numerous variations, including Destiny Heroes and the addition of the Frog engine released in the 5Ds era. But what might be Monarch's most notable form came earlier this year when a slew of new support, including the absolutely absurd pantheism of the Monarchs and the new level 8s, took the deck all the way to the top of the North American Championship. Number 4, Mermail. If you played the game during the second half of the Zexo era, then you know how much of a pain in the ass and dominating force that this deck could truly be. So much so that many decks like Dino Rabbit opted to main deck Macro Cosmos. So when Mermail finally worked itself out of the meta, most of us assumed that power creep and the natural order had simply given the water deck the typical death grip. Nope, turns out that water just wanted to take a momentary beauty nap and wait for, get this, a single card to restore the deck basically to the height of its power. Hence why today Mermail is still a huge player in the meta. Number 3, Chain and Nurse Burn. Much like Exodia, for some stupid freaking reason, these degenerate burn decks are wildly popular among casual players, and they don't really care what the meta is because it's not going to stop them from making your experience a nightmare. To Konami's credit, they tried hitting Chain Burn in the past, going after cards like Ojama Trio and Chain Strike. Then they more or less just kind of got bored, threw up their hands, and said, just let the nerd burn players play burn. It'll be fine. We don't care anymore. Just buy some more packs. What makes the continued popularity and play of these burn decks so frustrating is that the variants have seemingly gotten even better with the recent name change to Nurse, which now makes her searchable. Oh joy. Number 2, Lightsworn. Now here we have a candidate that really has survived the test of time extremely well, and it's all thanks to their stupid milling mechanic. And as long as there are cards that like being sent to the graveyard, the viability of Lightsworn doesn't seem to be in danger in the slightest. From the beginning of Plague Spreader to Glow Up Bulb, Zephyros the Elite, the Shadows, and even now Fairy Tale Snow, this is just proof that if you give a mechanic to a deck that basically is immune to power creep and a couple of good extra deck monsters, it's gonna be good for a long ass time. Honorable mentions include Infernity and Cleafort, finally to our number 1 spot, Burning Abyss. Despite the fact that Lightsworn has kind of been played and fairly viable since 2008, I went ahead and gave the top spot to the much maligned Burning Abyss, simply because of its consecutive run of over 2 years at tier 1 status or very close to it. This is basically unheard of in the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! From the old days of running Triple Mathematician and Supply Squad to modern builds involving Phantom Knights, the fact that Burning Abyss won a YCS a couple of months ago makes this one of the most impressive runs ever, and had to give it the top spot on this list. So let me know what you guys think. What is your favorite deck that just would not go away and stood the test of time? Leave that in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed the video, please smash the thumbs up button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Subscribe if you have not already. Subscribing makes life happy.